Okay, this is a final stage. I would like to the policy of maritime energy transitions in Republic of Korea. Also to the former presidents declared to the carbon neutralities in 2050. The Korea and so the former president specifically is very interesting. Is very interesting is carbon neutrality, and so the climate crisis and climate change, and so our new government also is the same trend and same the policy is going on, and so the in particular our government is to the related to the decarbonization and zero emissions is first is priority, and so the review the eco-friendly and renewable energy conversion roadmap and greenhouse gas reduction plan. It is directly related to the national action plans in line with the IMO policy. And then to revitalize the decarbonization and hydrogen economy and the devise measures to increase the proportion of renewable energy. And then the speedy implementation of industrial innovation strategy to build a green industrial ecosystem. And so, to the Korea until now is completely is not changed from the conventional the energy the consumption system to innovation the energy the consumption system. We also to the target to the national determined contributions 2030, and so our government also to have an endeavor to the continuously to get the target NDC and 2030. We need to change it to the industrial structure from now is old the energy consumption to structure to the eco-friendly energy consumption, the infrastructures we also our government is needed, and then is our government is supporting the development innovative new decarbonization technology and alternative fuel in the industry, and the special interest in low carbonizations of buildings and transportations, promoting a major transition to a circular economy that minimize energy input and maximize recycling and reuse. And our at the times to our presidents, the former presidents, is realization of carbon neutrality is essential, not optional. 2050 is very impressive at the time. And then the finalized to our government is a protection measures policy for company and workers by transition to a low carbon economy. Emphasis was placed on provisions. And then the former the government is Korea establishes Korea's carbon neutral the committee, and so to 2050. As of 2018, the Korea total greenhouse gas emission were 727 million tons, ranking fifth in OECD country. Net emission including carbon absorptions was 686.3 million tons. And so we have our government is a three scenario. And so the international technical transport for the developing states and the small island developing states, and have to national action plan to in the future. I would like to recommend to the make a scenario 1 to 3, the kind of the categorization of step by step to response to climate change and against to the current greenhouse gas from ships in maritime sector. However, is before the maritime sector, their country is to the is important to make the national action plan in terms of their government's is aspect. Whole industry and whole national the action plan is needed. So our government to the scenario 1 is maintenance of coal power generation, net carbon generation 25.4 million tons, plan to reduce carbon emission and increase carbon absorption through technological development while maximizing the existing system and structure and to absorb 95 million tons of the carbon through CCUS. And so our government also the focus on the development of the carbon capture, the utilization system is very the important policies. One of the greenhouse cuts is to realize to the carbon neutrality in the future in Korea. And so the many the come together, the Ministry of Ocean and Fisheries, Ministry of the the industry, the Ministry of Environment can come together work for make a law related to the carbon capture unit strategy, and the very big the project is going to establishment of to the carbon capture utilized system, the establishment in the future. And so scenario number 2 is suspension of coal power generations, maintenance of LNG power generations. The previous my slide is the emphasize to the Korea, the emphasize on the LNG power, the LNG supply system, and many to the research and development project is going nowadays to supply is LNG bunkering and net carbon emission. Also, our country is 80.7 million tons. And so the scenario number 2 is focused on the energy power generations. Number 3, scenario 3, both coal power generation and LNG power generation are suspended. Net carbon emission of 0 tons. This is the carbon neutrality. And so our government focus on the hydrogen power generations, and it produce water and electrolysis, green hydrogen without using extracted hydrogen extracted from coal by production hydrogen from the petrochemical processes. And the transportation sector and the transport proportion of the pollution-free vehicle, such as electric vehicle and hydrogen vehicle, was set at 97%. And to the Korea, a carbon neutral implementation plan, a scenario in the new government. Also, new government has decided to maintain the previous government goal of reducing the national greenhouse gas reduction target, national determined contribution by 40% compared to 2018. Instead, the plan is to raise the possibility of NDC realization by promptly abolishing the nuclear phase-out policy to increase the operation rates of nuclear power plant. It's different the policy of the eco-friendly and energy saving the policy of the new government is very interesting thing is to change the previous the policy is to focus on the nuclear power. And so our new government is maybe in the future is good the alternative the power energy, the maritime energy also to the nuclear, and so is interesting. And so national green gas reduction goal include a green gas reduction goal and a promise to reduce implementation to the international community by 2030. Anyway, a reduction of 24.4% compared to 2017 emissions is presented as Korea's national greenhouse gas reduction goal for 2030. Anyway, the Korea's 2050 vision aims to global climate action, and so carbon neutral society, and encouraging actions at all levels of stakeholders. Korea 2050 vision is established. And so the key elements of the 2050 visions and strategy outlines the following 5 key elements that will guide Korea's policymaking, social transformation, and technological innovation for its green transitions. Number 1 is expanding the use of clean power and hydrogen across all sectors, improving energy efficiency to a significant level. And the third, the commercial deployment of carbon removal and other future technologies. The fourth, the scaling up the circular economy to improve industrial sustainability. And the final is number 5 is enhancing carbon sink. This is a key element of the 2050 vision of our declaration of the carbon neutrality is 2050. And then more detail, a new government is a scenario, the Korea carbon neutral, the implementation plan is in terms of energy sector. Energy sector is very big position of the carbon neutral implementation. In 2017, the emission from the energy sector accounted for 36% of the total emissions. And so, to achieve carbon neutrality in the energy sector by 2050, clean and renewable energy, for example, in solar and wind, should become a central power sources. And then, to this end, the government will develop an accurate power demand and supply forecasting system and provide enhanced support for future innovative technology, such as energy storage system. The previous my slide is CCUS, also is the same line. And then carbon capture utilization storage technology will be applied to coal fired power plants to minimize greenhouse gas emission. This is the energy sector. Another is a big positions in transportation sector, as account for 14% of Korea's total emission in 2017, and its difference is transportation sector, and so the transportation, the policy maker and the Ministry of Transportation. And so the modal shift is one of the best solutions. They are thinking about it. And so the modal shift is expected to take place from the existing petroleum-based transportation system into the future mobility featuring eco-friendly and autonomous vehicle. And then the government plans is the first one is promote the use of public transportation. The second one, expand shared mobility. The third, and build system for traffic, demand management, and intelligent transportation. The fourth, reduce energy consumption by promoting commercial use of autonomous vehicle. The maritime sector is related to the maritime autonomous surface ship, also is the same line. And to promote the modal shift from road to rail or shipping. The low carbon modes of transportation. This is a transportation sector. The 14% as we will decrease to the greenhouse gas. And then in the industry sector, is a very the first one sector of emission, total emission from Republic of Korea. And so the industry sector is estimated to be responsible for 37% of Korea total greenhouse gas emission in 2017. And so our government needed to achieve low carbon transitions in energy intensive industry. And so steel, cement, and petrochemical production, the kind of to the industry is sharply decrease is required in the future. And so for prime example could be hydrogen reduction steel making and carbon capture and utilization for petrochemical production is one of the solution of industrial sector. And this relevant to the industry, Ministry of Industry government plans is the first one is facilitate the industry sector's transitions to high value added structures by combining ICT to the existing industry. The second one is use regulatory measures in the combinations with incentives to improve energy efficiency. The third, strengthen policy and technology development for reusing waste as resources that could dramatically reduce the use of raw material and fuel for the purpose of efficiency use of resources. This is the industry sector. And so energy sector, transportation sector, industry sector, almost is our the sector. The maritime sector is less than 10%. And so is this energy sector, transportation sector, industry sector is very big size is of our the total greenhouse gas emission of Republic of Korea. And so it's interesting things is Korea's carbon neutral implementation plan, social in new government. New government is implement the previous announced national greenhouse gas reduction target without any setbacks, but improve the reduction route and utilization of nuclear power plant and review the reduction implementation measures. In relation to the reduction route, based on sufficient communication with the industry and stakeholders and cost analysis, for example, is prepare a plan to achieve national determined contribution, including reduction route by sector and year. Prepare the national carbon neutral green growth basic plan by March 2023, such as preparing measures for each sector and years to achieve the mid and long-term national greenhouse gas reduction goal and measures to adapt to climate change. And so this kind of the new government is continuously is the policy making. And so the another one is to the establish incentive to promote corporation carbon neutral investment and low carbon consumption, reinforce financials and financial support, expand support method, link it to the reduction result, expand the performance linked business method to support follow-up project according to the achievement of the reduction goal, and increase investment in the carbon neutral field reinforcement of policy financial support. Expansion of activities targeted at the carbon neutral practice point now, spread of carbon neutral life cycle practice. This is for the new government is example, etc. This is the Korea's organizations is government organization is public sector, and so the first one is the Ministry of Environment, and then the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ministry of the Ocean and Fisheries is a very big contribution. This is the industry, Ministry of Industry, and this is the Ocean and Fisheries, Ministry of Ocean and Fisheries, and another organization is COM, is also another one is to the COMSA, It's very relevant to the organization. In particular, Korea is cooperations, combinations between the Ministry of Industry and the Ministry of Ocean and Fisheries have an endeavor to make the Eco-Friendly Ship Act of Republic of Korea in 2019, 2020. And so this act is proposed is to promote the continuous development of the shipbuilding industry and to create a clean marine environment through the promotion of technology development and the distribution of environmental friendly ships. This is a purpose, and so it's different to the regardless of the international maritime organizations rules and regulation. Our Korea independently is two ministry corporations to make the eco-friendly ship act of the considering and the shipyard and shipping industry and logistics. And so there are many differences, to the very big difference is what is eco-friendly ships and so environmentally friendly ships to achieve the purpose of the law. And the ship is a marine pollution reduction technology or ship energy efficiency improvement technology, eco-friendly energy use ships, electric propulsion ships, hybrid ship, fuel cell propulsion ship. This is to the eco-friendly, environmentally friendly ships. And so these acts have the basic and implementation plan is establishment and certification system. As basic implementation plan is 10 years period. However, is to the implementation detailed plan is 5 years for promoting the development and the distribution of eco-friendly ships. So this act is very useful for the supporting the and financing for the shipping industry and the shipyard and the ship equipment manufacturers. The target of the eco-friendly ships conversion policy, which is currently concentrated on international cargo ship, has been expanded to various types of ships, such as domestic ship, passenger ship, fishing ship, and tugboat, so that a broad support policy can be prepared. And then the public ships, in case of public ship owned by the government, is that there are the own government is will invest to a lot of money to change from the conventional vessel to environmentally the eco-friendly ships before the 2030. And so our government is there are many the research and development plan and project is going on in the futures before 2030. Anyway, our government goal is to get the satisfied to the 40% of the global the standard is the before 2030. And then it has established and announced the 2030 eco-friendly government ship conversion plan and is pursuing the goal of converting 140 government ships belong to it into the eco-friendly ship by 2030. This is very useful to the industry the improvement in the medium size and small size in the shipyard. And so to the another one is hydrogen economy. And so I brief this hydrogen economy. By 2025, our government is planned to establish a commercial mass the production system of 100,000 units per year, lowering the price of hydrogen cars to the level of the international combustion cars while securing marketability. And so the 35 hydrogen buses will be supplied to the 7 cities, 2,000 by 2022 and 40,000 by 2040. Is hydrogen taxis, hydrogen truck, and hydrogen charging station is core infrastructure is coming to for the diffusion of the hydrogen vehicle. This is our Korea's hydrogen economy plan. And so another one is to the related to the maritime sector. And so the first of all, about 50,000 ton of the extra byproduct hydrogen is equivalent to the 250,000 hydrogen cars are used as preparations for the implementation of our hydrogen economy and society. While localization of hydrogen extractor, diversification of extraction, demand production, method neutral gas supply chain, and hydrogen extraction near the demand sources. And so another one is to the Port Air Quality Management Act. Also, to the port citizen of the nearby to port. For example, is Busan Port and Incheon Port is very serious, the particularly matter. So our government has made it our Port Air Quality Management Act. And so this area is foreign the vessel have to the duty to decrease to the vessel speed reduction. And so to the we are the pointed out is 4 port emission control area, and so is Busan area, the Yeosu Gwangyang Port, Busan Port, and Ulsan Port, and another one is the Incheon Port. The 4 port was appointed by as emission control area, and then the vessel speed reduction area, and so the 4 major port in Korea was appointed by the government. And so through the route, all ships have to the speed reduction, and then the control the bunker change emission control area 0.1% of sulfur content. And so to the recommended speed for port is the container ship, Busan, Ulsan, Yeosu, Incheon also, LNG carrier also the Yeosu Gwangyang, Incheon, and there to the speed reduction is a duty for these ships. And so the related to our government is the IMO to the policy. And so our government also the consideration of the IMO regulation and EU emission route. Already I mentioned the first stage is midterm measures, long-term measures. To the midterm measures is especially the consideration is market-based measures. This is also to the EXI, CII, SIMP is all shipping industry nowadays is needed and considering is to the certify to the over the B grade in terms of the CII certification standard. This is also the same one. The interesting is carbon levy scenario impact supply. The impact of levy quantity variable, but generally within the average monthly volatility in delivery cargo prices. And to the bunker prices is scenario 1 is a container freight rate is USD. The US dollars is $77. Scenario 1 is 8.5 US dollars with bunker price. However, in scenario 5 is 1,256 US dollars and 100 to the very serious to the scenario 5 is very big money is required. Maybe this scenario is almost the close approach to the 100 CO2. The scenario 3 is very appropriate nowadays the many experts just say something. To the container freight rate is just 310 US dollars, and the bunker price is just 314 is appropriate to the carbon levy scenario. And then inclusion of shipping in EU ETS. To the 2 days ago, the EU ETS to the made the decision is a 61% the decrease, the target. This is a very interesting, is in line with the IMO and the UNFCCC. Is IMO also the Marine Environment Protection Committee adopted in June. This is a mandatory short-term measure. This is a 2018 the story, at least 40% by 2030. And so is in line with the come together work is IMO regulation is to the UNFCCC's principle and make a decision is in line with the come together. And so this is my summary of the closing the presentation. Is I would like the recommendation of the developing states and the small island developing states is this is 8 pointed is to the was taken into the consideration to make your national action plan. And so one is to the already I mentioned stage 1, a sustainable development of capacity building program related to the UN agenda. And so to the means of implementations of IMO ship and port, the trend development and challenge facing the mitigation, and so from port and ships there is a challenge. And role and responsibility of states, implementation of mandatory instruments is needed. The sustainable development of capacity building program for mitigation is needed. Countries is required to the advanced countries in the IMO used to the IMO technical cooperation project. Greenhouse gas is so the smart GHG smart program funded by the Korea, and so the many countries come together to the training, and so the training of the trainer is capacity building. The kind of the program is very important in the futures to upgrade it to your capacity building to make her to the national action plan. And so the sustainable endeavor of greenhouse gas mitigation in relation to the UNFCCC and IMO legally binding instruments is very important. Is more and more the IMO legally binding instruments is the additionally to make it in the future. And so it is needed to the rapid finalization of the MRV system and the intended national determined contribution to CO2 reduction for shipping and port activity, echoing the INDC of the Paris Agreement is important one of the greenhouse gas cut. With regard to the data collection system, is very important to the accuracy is the data the obtaining is very important. This is before 2020, 2030, 2050 policy direction is shipping is enhancement of strengthens regulation against climate change, the development of environment friendly fuel oil, and post 22, 2030, 2050 is sharply innovative is changes, establishment of maritime autonomous surface ship and commercialization system is the harmonizations between the mass and eco-friendly ships. This is to the policy direction for shipping. And so this kind of level and the technical level is taken into consideration is as a result they have to consider supply chain, human resources, standardizations. And so to the kind of the track record data the accumulations is very, very important in futures. And then I finalized to the the SIDS and LDCs for the SIDS and LDCs special leads into the assessment. Impact assessment is needed. You can see to consider optimization choice of operators, the demand supply balance, and the world freight, the market behavior of carrier, the kind of the considering item, and so for the SIDS and LDCs. This is my recommendation. Thank you. The phase 3 is closed now. And any question about my presentation, you can contact to the Facebook and any email for me. I really the contact me, and then I answer to my presentation your question. Thank you very much.